Hello, everyone, and welcome to World Hydrogen North America 2025 in Houston, brought to you by World Hydrogen Leaders, now a part of S&P Global. I'm Noah Feingold, Consulting Director with S&P Global, and I'm very pleased to be joined by Justin Freeman of Coffman Engineers, Vice President of CCUS and Hydrogen. So Justin, just to start, could you tell me a little bit about what Coffman Engineers does within the hydrogen value chain?
Yeah, no problem. So, we're a company of about 900 engineers. And so we're located kind of from Guam all the way to DC. So we're working across the country. And so because of that, we're working with a lot of different types of hydrogen technology production. We're working in the midstream, we're working in storage. And we also work with a lot of companies that are in the sectors such as, healthcare and Department of Defense and energy and utilities. And so we have a very broad outlook in terms of like what the market is looking for, how people are struggling with how to cost effectively decarbonize. And so we focus on hydrogen in many different ways, from the producer to the off-taker and then also the customer. So.
Great, thank you. And one of the topics we've been hearing a lot about today is just uncertainty with policy, an uncertain environment to be working in. How are you managing uncertainty at Coffman Engineers?
Yeah, it's been a big impact, not gonna lie. So, we've seen a lot of projects slow down. There's a lot of uncertainty around the Department of Energy hubs. We've been involved in those. And so we're just seeing a lot of projects that maybe were working towards a faster final investment decision that is pacing, their spend, right? They're pacing how fast they're trying to move forward. Because I think the market is looking for a little bit of a shakeout to understand, are the production tax credits going to stay there? Are the hubs going to move forward? Because there's a lot of shared synergy between, pipelines and producers and off-takers that, they're leveraging each other to try to drive down the overall cost of hydrogen to make it more of a viable solution for society.
And then maybe on the other side, looking forward, where are you seeing market opportunities? Where do you see the market moving kind of in your discussions?
Yeah, I think that, one of the things is not one technology solution I don't think is going to win out. When you look at electrolytic hydrogen, you're really looking for where you have that overcapacity from a renewable potential, right? And, whereas you look in the Gulf Coast and you have all the infrastructure of CO2 pipelines and natural gas pipelines, it's naturally going to, veer a little bit more towards hydrogen that's going to be an autothermal reformer that's paired with carbon capture because you're co-located with your geological storage. I heard from one of our panelists today that, they're doing carbon capture and they're literally drilling the well, on their facility, right? And so that's really helping to lower the overall cost. And so that's one of the things that I see is where, the market makes sense for hydrogen, and not trying to kind of force fit hydrogen into a solution where it's not maybe the most cost effective. I think is one of the things that is kind of bearing out when people are looking at pure play economics, looking at these projects without maybe government support, and those type of projects are really moving forward. And then, the hubs and basically the tax credits also enable a next tier of projects. So.
And thank you. And that really covers a lot on the cost side. I'm wondering also kind of when you look at these best opportunities, is there anything on the demand side that's jumping out to you?
Yeah, I think you take transit authorities or heavy duty trucking, right? A lot of times that is not going to be a great solution for electric vehicles. So we're seeing this kind of convergence where the light duty market is very much going to electric. It's going to battery electric vehicles, where people have longer routes and they have a drive where they need to utilize their assets more on a 24-hour cycle. That fueling time becomes very important to them. And that's one of the things that is actually suffering because we don't have that high reliability in that subsystem. So you think about hydrogen fueling. Hydrogen fueling is plagued by reliability issues. Are the stations working? Are the pumps working? And so even if folks did have cost-effective hydrogen to fuel their vehicles with, the reliability of those fueling systems is a major issue. And so, it's a nascent market, right? A lot of this stuff is just kind of achieving liftoff, and we're going to have some of these trials and tribulations that we're going to have to get through. And I think that in 5-10 years' time, a lot of those engineering problems will be solved. But that's a major barrier to, really seeing transit authorities wider adopt hydrogen as a fuel source for their fleets.
Well, thank you for your perspective, Justin, and thank you for joining us at the conference and for this interview. And for all of you watching at home, thank you for joining as well.